All right, here we go. Good evening, everyone. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the town of Darien. It's Wednesday, September 27th, 2023 at approximately 7:35 at night. We are going to start, and if no one's been watching me struggle today, this is our first night with iPads vis-a-vis all the paper that I have been given as backup. So, but I can assure you that the Vice Chair and I have spent a significant amount of time reviewing all the documents, both electronically and on paper. We've been to every site, as some in the room may know, and inspected what it is that we're trying to determine tonight. So please have confidence in us, in me, I guess I should really say. But if I have a little bit of an issue and it takes me or the Vice Chair some time to figure things out, please bear with me, okay? Great. So we're going to move along. I'm going to ask everybody to keep their presentations to 10 minutes. If it takes longer, it's perfectly fine. And then we'll have neighbors or anybody in support or against make their piece and have a say as well. So we will give you time. We just want to keep our eye on the clock, okay? If there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead and start with calendar number 10-2023, the application of Nick DeMeo and Nick DeMeo Design on behalf of Shauna Sullivan Riley to allow the partial demolition, alteration, and lifting of the existing house and construction of a covered porch, one-story and second-story additions. This is for the property known as 24 Cherry Street. Mr. DeMeo.
Yes.
The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you.
Just state your name for the record when you're ready, please.
Shauna's just going to say a few words.
Good evening, I'm Shauna Sullivan Riley. I'm the homeowner, working closely with Nick. I just wanted to introduce myself and thank you for your consideration, and I'll turn it over to Nick to go through all the specific details.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shauna. Nick DeMeo. I'm the architect on the project from DeMeo Design Group. In hopes to keep it brief, I'll focus mostly on the project at hand. There's a lot of background, so if you have any questions on that, please just ask. I'll briefly touch on it. So the project started with the hopes to lift the house. It's currently in a flood zone, AE flood zone. It's on the corner of Ash and Cherry. It's a non-conforming lot. The setback lines are highlighted here in blue. So as you can see, it's pretty unworkable as is. And a lot of what's existing is over those setback lines. So in 1969, there was actually another variance filed for this lot to build a two-car garage. And there was a connector piece, and they wanted to do a playroom above it. So that was approved, and over the years, that two-car garage was turned into finished space. So I'm going to go to the floor plan here quickly. So this is the existing floor plan as we have it today. So this area here, this was all an addition. This is the original cape, and this was approved to be a garage, and it's now a living room, master bedroom, closet, master bathroom, and laundry room. And none of this was approved, so this was all done illegally over the years. There's also a shed that's added to the back of the property as well. So
That shed is in a non-conforming spot as well?
it is.
Okay,
correct.
fine.
So essentially, the project started by Shauna's desire to lift the house, raise the house, get it out of the AE flood zone. The flood zone is at elevation 18.2 is the BFE. The house is at 17.2, so we were looking to raise it 2 feet to 19.2. And in talks with planning and zoning, in order to do this, we needed to bring this part of the house back in conformance, make it a garage again, in order to be permitted to lift the house. And so obviously that causes an issue. We lose a lot of square footage. This area here is 660 square feet. The current total is 1561. So that really brings the house down. So that
Sorry,
gets,
can you give us those numbers again? I'm sorry.
yes, so the current house is at 1561, and this area here is 660 square feet.
Of the 1,500.
Of the 1,500. That's correct. So we worked on a proposal here, which I'm presenting to you now, to essentially correct some of the issues of the lot and gain some square footage back by doing so. So what we're proposing here is to remove the master bedroom, closet, and bathroom completely. Demolish that, turn the living space and laundry area back into a garage. There's a slab on grade here. It was originally intended to be a garage, so we plan to convert it back to what it was intended to be. By removing this piece here and the shed, we actually bring the coverage back down. So currently we're at 29.9, and we would be at 25.6 by doing this subtraction here.
And just quickly,
Yeah.
it's 660 feet, that's the total area.
Right.
How much of that is the master bedroom that you're proposing to eliminate?
250 square feet.
Okay.
But the variance that you received, that this lot received, increased the coverage to the 29.
Correct.
I mean, so it's legally non-conforming coverage.
Not, no, the 69 decision, I think the request was 29%. The
Right.
ZBA said no, reduced it to, I think, 25.5 or
Yeah, it
somewhere
was
around
20,
there.
yeah. mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Somewhere where we're.
And suggested just build a one-car garage instead of a two and put a playroom up there. So the 29% grew from prior owner activities plus the shed.
Okay, so
Well,
If
well, the
Nick-
25% grew, not the 29. It didn't grow.
it grew to 29.
It grew to-
Yes.
So if your proposal, would that bring it back consistent with the 1966 variance?
69.
So, sorry,
No,
69
that's,
variance?
Well, coverage-wise, we would be right there.
Okay,
So we're at 25.6, I believe you said 25.5 was
Okay,
what they
so-
got approved for.
right, because coverage is not unimportant to us, so you're bringing, you would then be essentially legally non-conforming, because you'd be consistent with the variance that was obtained for this property.
Except for the use, I think, of what's going on.
No, but I'm just talking
Yeah,
coverage.
Coverage.
Yes, coverage-wise, yes, but use, no.
Correct. I understand.
So now, by removing this piece too, essentially the parking was obviously over the setback line, right on the street. So this gives us a parking space that's as far into the buildable area as possible, and then another parking space on the side. So we're proposing, we'll have the garage here, and then we'll have a side parking space here with a condenser unit over here on the side.
That condenser exists, is gonna stay there?
Correct.
Roger
Yeah.
that. Mhm.
Yep.
Or understood, excuse me.
So I will move on to the proposed plans. So as I mentioned, we would be turning the living space back into a garage. The existing cape, the main structure, which will be lifted, we're proposing to put a second story over that. And just over that, there was the connector piece that is currently a mudroom. What we're proposing is to add a little bit of square footage here, which is actually in the building setback, to get that laundry room and mechanicals over to here, because we can't leave that in the garage anymore, and have that be, in the flood zone. So the idea would be to add a little bit of new coverage here. That's the only area of new internal square footage. Beef up that connection, and then add our second story above the existing cape. We are also asking for a front portico, which we have in the design here. So the portico is 8 feet wide by 4 feet deep. This is the roof plan. I just want to take you to the elevations. So this is the front elevation here. This is the existing back elevation. So essentially that portico and the bay window are more for aesthetic reasons, to add some character into the house, to speak to the context of the neighborhood. So we believe that portico just adds a little bit of depth and a covered entry. Most of the second floor is achieved with dormering. So we tried to keep, the height down as much as possible and relate to a lot of the other capes on the street. So I'll bring you to the side elevation here. So this is the side elevation that faces Ash Street. So this is kind of the most viewed when you're coming up to Cherry. So previously we have this, demolishing this part, turning this back into a garage. This is the mudroom connector, and then we have our second story addition over the main house here.
Okay.
And this is the opposite side, and then a little, just a diagrammatic section here. So
I'm having trouble figuring out, is any of this building outside the buildable area?
yes,
It's always helpful, and we don't know if you encourage this, if we've got highlighted nicely the buildable area.
So you have it in one of yours, Gary?
I don't think I do.
At the end of the staff questions, the very last page? There you go.
All right.
yeah, I called it out here in blue, it's just not very legible here. But this is the buildable area right here.
So the additional space in the buildable area
Yeah.
is the new second floor to the left on the existing cape?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right,
Correct.
and the new first floor addition, you said is in the setback, but you really meant is in the buildable area.
Is in the buildable.
It's out of the setback.
Right,
Yes,
it's in
sorry,
it's in
it's
a
out of the-
conforming
Right.
location.
Right.
And the AC unit's in a conforming location. The portico is in a non-conforming location,
Correct.
proposed to be, but
What's the size of the portico though?
The portico is 8 feet wide by 4 feet deep.
Thank you.
And I would argue, by the way, that I would suggest that a portico is more than just aesthetic. It's also for safety purposes, allowing the residents to come in and out, especially as winter approaches.
Sure, yep.
So,
Um,
not just aesthetics.
Yes. And so I just want to conclude by summing up the kind of where we're at now with the project, square footage total, size-wise compared to the previous. So as I mentioned, so 1561 was the total we're working with now. With the new second floor addition, that's 731 square feet. So the new total would be 1725 on the whole entire house. So that includes second floor, existing main cape, and then the connector piece.
How many square feet is the shed that's being removed?
The shed is,
It's not a small shed.
Right.
it's not a small shed, it's, the exact dimensions of it are not on here, but I can get that.
I'm gonna take a guess. I'd say it's 8 by 8.
I was gonna say 8 by 10 or something like that.
I was gonna say
yeah.
8 by 10 by 10, 100 square feet.
Yeah.
Let's call it 10 by 10, 100 square feet.
Nick, can you review, it's also for the record, I mean, I can see certainly the buildable area, but just for the record, review the hardship with the property and why you believe this is a minimal adjustment necessary to address that hardship.
Sure. So there are several hardships. So we, first of all, we're on a corner non-conforming lot here, so our buildable area is extremely limiting. The current residence, in its current state, it does not conform to those, to the buildable area. So we're outside of it, so pretty much whatever we touch, so there's a true hardship there. And then Second, we are in a flood zone, so in order to, the house has been flooded several times before Sean was here, but it did extensive damage to the first floor. They had to replace all the flooring, and so there's been several problems with flooding on the site. So in order to get the house out of the flood zone and get it into a safe space, we need to correct prior issues to the property. So we also believe that that is a hardship that we must tackle here. So those are our two main.
Understood. Well, it's also a corner lot too, so you've
Yeah,
got
it's a corner.
two, yeah, you've got two
Yeah.
front yards, so,
Yep.
you know, that's gonna tie you up a little bit, so, understood about that hardship is the two front yards. Okay, all right.
And then you are working to bring it more, or closer
Closer
to
to,
the
Coverage.
coverage that was,
Right.
the variance that was granted
He's
previously.
missing it by .01.
Right.
So something, there's a white fence that extends between 3 and 13 feet into the road,
yes.
shoulders the
In-
right-of-way
I-
land.
Yeah, I think he means road right away, yeah.
Okay, so should us,
We do plan to remove the fence.
oh,
Yeah.
that was easy. I got nothing else.
Problem solved.
Yeah,
Okay, really? Okay.
And the covered porch will not be enclosed?
it will not be enclosed.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have the normal stipulations on that, not enclosed, can't go above it, you know.
Right.
Okay, Matt, questions? Kevin, questions? Nope, I'm good. Okay. You know, I have a question, I can't believe this, I don't see this in staff questions, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know, I only know what I read, but I'm reading the second to last paragraph, and the owner is requesting to stay in the house while this house is raised?
Correct. So we are, actually, that brings me to my last point. So what we are.
You're welcome.
What we are proposing for the construction would be to permit Shauna and her two girls to,
It's just the three ladies in the house?
it is just the three ladies in the house.
Okay.
So we were hoping to allow them to stay in this wing of the house while this is under construction. Once this is finished, they would move into the new house, and this would be demolished, and this would be turned back into a garage. So that is why they would be living on site.
That
Or
doesn't need,
A variance?
no,
We,
right. It's not like you're trying to,
Safety.
you're building a
It's
new
a
house
safety.
and later tearing down the old, where we've had that situation. That's fine.
okay, so what, so like, for example, can't remember his name right now, on,
Peach Hill.
Right.
we.
But there's another one on
that's-
there's another one on Main.
I'm talking about in the Bay, Jimmy loved brothers,
Right,
father-in-law.
Anyway,
So it's not an issue?
I don't think that's an issue because they're not putting in another dwelling.
there is a sliding door here, so we can
Right,
Kind of
access the kitchen.
access that,
whatever,
right.
Right. You're not turning into a two-dwelling home,
No,
right?
no.
Or a piece of property, right?
My bad, okay, let's move on.
I don't know.
Barb?
I'm
Fine?
good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Fine. Are you okay?
I'm
You done?
great, yeah.
Good, good. Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
you're good, thank you very
All
much.
right, thank you, everybody.
Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to be heard on this matter?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Okay, Nick, sir, Mr. DeMayo, sorry, could you remove that so I can see?
So come up
They
to the
have to
podium,
respond.
please,
Who's-
and
Hi, would you like to be heard on this matter, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Would you please come to the microphone and introduce yourself and let Karen know your
Sure.
name?
Hi.
Thank you.
My name is Nicoletta Glekas, and I'm the owner of 26 Cherry Street.
Okay.
It's exactly. If you don't mind, the gentleman, I would like to see like a view of the plan, not like go to details, but just to have idea what
Okay.
it's proposing.
I'm sure he'll be happy to do that.
Okay.
I would ask, well, I guess I can't do that. Well, I can ask this.
Sure.
Did you receive notice of this construction?
I received just the letter of the meeting.
Just a letter of this meeting, no
Yes.
materials whatsoever?
No,
No?
no.
So we had in the notice a link to
Yeah,
go
it's an
to
opportunity.
access the materials online.
Okay.
Just all the meetings there tonight. It's like few pages of letter. It say what is the meetings that are gonna
Okay.
be proposed tonight.
All right. I'm not sure I've had this
So the
request.
notice was legal, the meeting was.
Was legally noticed, correct?
Right? What is-
Yes?
Okay.
So you have to go online now.
But she can see the property. Nick, put up the.
Yeah.
Want me to take you?
Yeah, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
you know, my
If you
husband
could,
is
though.
there, so.
Maybe it'd be good to do
Do
it in
you
the
I
hallway.
was
wanna
gonna say
I was
do it in the
say, yeah,
hallway.
sure, yeah.
Try
So-
to explain.
Yeah, do it, I was gonna say, do it in the hallway.
Okay,
I'm gonna temporarily pause this hearing and start another one,
okay,
okay?
sounds great.
When you come back, if you have any objections, you can make them, and the board will then determine what our next steps are.
Okay,
But for now, I think it's appropriate, because of the audience and the board's time, to just step out in the
I
hallway.
really appreciate it.
And that's not a problem. I'm
Thank you
pleased
so
you're
much.
here.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm not sure I've ever had that request. Okay. So that meeting, or that hearing, is temporarily put on pause, and I'm gonna go to calendar number 14-2023. Pardon me. The application of Jeremy Hill of Happy House, I'm gonna say house because I like the name, Happy House Design, on behalf of Joseph and Chelsea Velikis, to allow the construction of a one-story covered porch addition at the home, no pun intended, the home with the address known as 140 Holmes Avenue, okay? Good. Sir,
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Jeremy Hill. I'm the founder of Happy House Design, architect. So the client, Chelsea, and her husband Joe approached me, hired me to investigate the possibility of doing an addition. Along with that, wanted to do a covered porch across the facade, front facade of the property. Our initial investigations looked at an as-built survey that we acquired that was done in 2004 when the previous owner did an addition on the backside. I noticed on that survey there was a portion of the property that was in non-compliance with the 25-foot setback on Rose Lane. So during further investigations, we kind of looked at what Rose Lane and homes over the period from when this house was constructed back in 1920s. It seemed like there was some kind of subdivision that happened which created this corner lot. And because of that subdivision, Rose Lane was not a substantial street. So I came in, made a scheduled meeting with the zoning department to kind of review the site and see what possibilities. During that meeting, we kind of concluded that, due to the size of Rose Lane, that we would probably have to apply for a variance, seeing that we would definitely note C of section 406, that it would be 50 feet from the center of Rose Lane, which resulted in a complete bifurcation of the existing structure, passing bifurcation of the entryway particularly. So we approached the design of this particular, we looked at, it was the existing plan. Here was the lot line frontage from the property line. Here's the Rose Lane that bifurcates the existing door and the existing portico. So we approached the design in a manner that we would try to maximize in terms of utilizing this portico area, but not extend as much as we could past the Rose Lane front line. So in the proposed plan, we have an addition on the north side, and we have a covered porch that wraps around. We stopped the covered porch short of the 25-foot setback line, but tried to keep proportionally of the portico what's existing on, so it only crosses Rose Lane setback line by 8 feet, which right now it crosses about 6 feet. some of the reasons why we readjusted the existing portico. These are the existing elevations. You can see there is an existing portico on this side, which is the east side. We're looking to do the addition on the north side. It was just mainly looking at the proportionality of the existing portico, trying to keep within that and finding some definition of proportionality that we can keep to enhance the existing 1920 structure. So the idea was keeping with tradition of these colonial style resident homes, particularly with like in a Dutch colonial. We took the opportunity to proportion this new portion to the gable top, to the dormer above. So we had continuous proportionality, and that basically we kind of try to make sure that even though it comes over Rose Lane's lot line, that particular hardship that is, results in this periodically kind of mentality of the line kind of crossed the building over the last 100 years. And understanding that entryways, in terms of functionality, in terms of aesthetic, are a very important part. Basically every zoning ordinance and laws have carved out some kind of, exceptions that porticos and front porches that are covered ways that are left open can cross into the yard requirements.
So of all the work you're doing, the only issue before us is, as you're facing the house, standing on Holmes Avenue, is the left side of this expanded portico
Exactly.
design. And what's the current dimensions of the portico?
The current dimensions, the roof line of it extends almost 8 feet wide. It's 7'1" roughly from our dimensions. So it extends over roughly 6 foot over the existing Rose Lane line. And the new dimensions are slightly larger. It's about 9 feet and extends over 8 feet for that line, so it's an extra.
So you're looking, so right now it extends 6 feet over.
That's correct.
And you're looking to increase that number,
Yep.
just apples to apples, from 6 feet to 8 feet.
Yep. Mainly, yeah, and that happens in that south dimension
And then
where it happened.
And then making the portico, the dimension of the portico is more than 8 by 5 or less than 8.5?
It's more than 8 by 5. It extends out now 8 feet in terms of our proposal. And
So what is the dimensions of the portico that you hope to build?
it's basically 8 by 9 is this portion of this area.
9 feet wide, 8 feet deep.
8 feet deep, yeah.
And now it's 7 feet wide, 8 feet wide?
8 feet wide.
And how deep?
It's roughly almost 5 feet deep.
And is your proposal to extend it purely aesthetics so that it matches the dormer that was built? That was an addition, that dormer. 10 or more years ago, I think this was before us. So your proposal is simply just to match the dimensions of the dormer for aesthetic purposes?
It's, well, one of the major, things that we wanted to, create more of connection back to the community with open front porch. And along with that, to try to, adhere to the spirit of the zoning law. And by basically, trying to keep the house proportionally aesthetically pleasing from the front side of
That's it. And the open front porch area is the new area on the,
Yes.
again, as you're standing on
Towards
Holmes
the-
Avenue.
Turns the,
on the
towards
right-hand
north,
side.
yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So we could extend that, continuously, that's compliant.
Yeah.
And we try to keep as much in the compliant zone as possible.
Right.
Um,
I
It
understand.
just in terms of proportionality, aesthetics, and overall function of that space,
I
it
understand.
was necessary to extend it south past that Rose Lane line.
Okay.
Could you discuss a little the hardship here that relates to this
Yeah.
requirement for a larger portico?
Yes, absolutely. So the major hardship is, during our investigation, going through, the series of understanding what the property and the history of the property and how it basically, there was a period where this was built in the 1920s. It was not a corner lot. Eventually, there was the construction of Rose Lane, which it's been marked private, but we couldn't figure out, have the documentation that isolated why it was private. But either there, it created a corner lot. And then eventually, when the adoption of Note C from basically in our discovery of, the width of Rose Lane, this basically pushed that front setback even further into that existing property. Now, we understand that, the entryway is an important part of any residential home, and the fact that it's getting bifurcated by the setback limits us to, without a variance, no possibility of any manipulation of that entryway without, full demolition of the entry and moving it, into a compliant zone. Due to that, we believe that the hardship is sufficient enough to, allow us to at least modify, some of the portion of that existing entry to satisfy a number of the aesthetic functionality and, requirements that a building on this community would, suffice.
Okay. All right, I think I'm reading the answer to my question.
No.
Yeah, Gary, you okay?
I
Any more questions?
have no additional questions.
Matt,
Thank you.
any questions?
Nope.
Kevin,
Nope.
questions? Okay.
Nope.
Barb? Oh, well, I'm not gonna step out of line. I honestly, I don't really have any, I do not have any questions. So, if there's nothing further from the board and nothing further from you, sir, then then as far as I'm concerned, we're done here. Is there, yes, would you like to be heard on this matter?
She's the owner of the property.
Should we bring up the fact to go further, or should we leave that?
Well, that was one of the questions that the staff had, was in terms
fair
of,
enough.
there was a variance request from the previous owners in 2004, which was pulled. There was a question in terms of, has the porch segment, or that our new proposal, the scaled back, is more favorable than going from a full width across the face.
I believe what Ms. Velikis is suggesting, sorry if I didn't pronounce that wrong, close enough. So, I'm sorry, is that why this proposed planter is there? Is because you're not bringing it all the way over?
Yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm kind of a fan of the planter.
It was designed that way to make sure that we keep some of the proportions of it, keep it up, but not have it fully involved within, the setback. Just in terms of the question that was posed, it's hard to, compare apples to,
You
two
know-
different designs. I don't know which, obviously we went into it looking to have it across the forward facade, but we scaled it back because of the limitations that were at hand.
Well, sir, you just set yourself up perfectly just in case anybody asks about minimum adjustment necessary, because you're looking at it.
Yeah.
All right? Loving the planter.
So
Kevin?
just quick, so
Yep.
is the location that's in the setback where you want to put the new portico where the current front door is?
Yes.
And that's why you have it
Yeah.
there and you couldn't slide it?
Exactly. The current front door is in the same location. We're keeping this location in the front door exactly where it is.
But you want to
Symmetric on the
make,
building,
but you want to make the portico bigger than it currently is?
slightly bigger to match, some of the features that exist on the existing house. Keeping proportional and basically, if we're, going to have to have not fully symmetric, have an asymmetric design, we're trying to keep some symmetry within proportionality.
Okay. Okay. I believe the board is good to go.
Okay.
And you're all set, ma'am? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Is there, then I'm going to move on. Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to be heard on this matter? I'll take that as a no. This hearing is closed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, how we doing? We okay?
Great.
Good. Okay, we're gonna move on to calendar 15, 2023, the application of Nelson Da Silva of Building Brothers as the applicant to allow the reconstruction of a one-story house segment and the construction of a deck, a gazebo, a second and attic story additions for the property known as 20 Marion Road. All right.
Name is Nelson Da Silva, and we are proposing a whole second floor. A whole second floor is going to be inside of building setback area. And we're only extend the deck, building a new deck 5 feet into our outside regular area, building setback area. And our gazebo that I brought some plans, some pictures today, what we're proposing for the gazebo. But I can also upload them. And our deck, our gazebo is going to be 26 feet off the property line, and we have 35 feet of building setback area. So it's roughly 11 feet closer to the property line, to the building setback area. Or
Wait, it's an improvement of 11 feet, or it is
No,
still
it's good.
within the setback?
11 feet into the setback, an open gazebo.
So you're adding something that's gonna go 11 feet into the setback?
Yes,
Okay,
we're proposing.
okay.
And the whole idea, and the whole reason our deck, we are proposing to extend our deck a little more, just to be even with the house, just cosmetically look a little better. And the other issue, it's our front porch. Also, this section, the existing house right now stops over here. And the whole second floor, again, the whole second floor is gonna be inside of the building setback area. And we're only extending this portion of the front door by another 7-8 feet. And that's the only thing that we added into outside really, our building setback area.
Why couldn't you put the gazebo somewhere else that's conforming, say behind?
First we were thinking to put it back here, but we were thinking we'd have a hard time with the wetlands next, be too close to the wetland.
Why couldn't the pool be more over this way and the gazebo? in the
Again,
center?
everything just get closer to the wetland, we're trying to stay away from the wetland far as we can.
And what's the purpose of the gazebo?
It's just seating area, open seating area like that.
So in order for us to grant a variance, said in the most direct way, you need to articulate to us why, if you didn't get this, so if you couldn't have your gazebo and you couldn't have this expanded deck, that would create some hardship for you or some unusual difficulty. Can you explain to us what that hardship would be if you
Our
didn't get
hardship
this?
here is only that it's a non-conforming lot, and 2/3 of the lot is under wetland. That's the biggest problem. We got the lot is you got 2/3 of this property goes all the way back here, but it's all all
So
wet.
so is there, right now, there's no deck over there that
There's
you're...
no backing at all.
So that red line there is just showing what's in the setback?
The red lines are building setback line.
Okay.
The dark area is the existing house right now. We're gonna keep, the blue line is our second floor that we're gonna add into the building. And in the front, it's almost 6 feet, 5.5 feet. It's just this little porch in the front of the front door. Right here,
And what's the size of that porch?
8 feet,
8 by what?
8 by 8.
How much of the existing house are you maintaining?
100%.
So the structure, the outside walls, everything,
Everything
and the
stays.
foundation,
Foundation, first floor, and first
you've
floor.
evaluated all that and you're sure that can all stay?
Yep.
And what is the square footage of the house now and what are you proposing?
2,700 square feet, I believe, the existing house. And we are adding like around 2,700 square feet.
So this is gonna be a 5,400 square foot house. All legally conforming right now.
I'll leave it for the whole second floor, yes.
And the pool is not there now.
Nope,
You are adding the pool,
we were planning to.
and you're adding a gazebo in a non-conforming location,
No, no.
and you're hoping to put a wraparound porch in a non-conforming location.
Actually, let me clarify a little better. The dark line here, it's not a porch, it's a part of the existing first floor. So we are adding some steel beams on the first floor, so we can move our second floor inside our building setback area.
Okay, so when I said currently, the home is non-conforming on that
It's
side.
not. This whole section here, outside this red line, it's existing outside our building setback area.
So you're going to take down the walls?
No.
On the first
No,
floor?
No.
So how do you get a porch there if that's an existing part of the home?
It's not a porch.
I thought-
This is a part of
It's
the
a-
first floor
yeah.
walls.
Oh, I thought that was...
So we are,
I thought it was a
Yeah,
wraparound
so
porch
did
as
I.
well.
it look like it.
Yeah, no, I got it.
It's just in the front that
So-
it's a
Just in
porch.
the front.
So let's be clear, are you adding, what area are you adding to the non-conforming location?
Right here, this section here. Just to look cosmetic better, to the right side of the property, this piece here, 8 feet, from here to here,
And the purpose of that addition is what?
over the front door.
That's,
Just a cover over the front door.
So
but that's not
where's the porch?
That is the front door?
It'll be the front door, yes.
Existing.
The existing front door is more in the center here. We're gonna move the front door to the side.
So where is that porch that I'm seeing on the back, on the bottom?
Right
That's
here.
on the back? Yeah.
That's the back of the house.
Okay, so in
That's
I
conforming.
gotcha. So in the front, there is no porch whatsoever. It's just
It's
that
just a
portico.
little 8 feet here.
Okay, right. I got it.
Everything from this point on is existing first floor walls here.
Okay.
And you're pulling back, so your second story
Should be conforming.
will all be conforming.
I'll be conforming, 100%. A whole second floor be conforming inside of building setback area.
So that's why you need to see the
That's-
beams, because you're not gonna be
Yes.
over the first floor.
And that's the
wall.
reason we moved the whole second floor, 8 feet this way.
Right.
So
To
this
make
line
the-
here
Yeah, to make
is
it
basically
conforming.
the
So,
blue line.
so the deck is irrelevant to us. It's really just this covered porch in the front and the gazebo in the back. Is that right?
No,
So then what am I
What?
missing?
portion of the deck is in the setback.
5 feet of the deck,
Where's that?
Where? What deck?
the rear deck.
Proposed back.
There is no deck there now. It's a
Okay, so show
proposed
us-
deck.
So show us on the,
Yeah,
on the site plan where
Yeah.
that is.
yep.
Here's the deck. So that's the deck here that we're proposing.
And where's the setback line? The
The
red
red
line?
line. So we are proposing 5 feet, 5 foot
Oh,
5
I see.
inches.
A portion of it.
So
I see.
line
Now-
out,
Now I
and
get it.
then it
To
would
line
line
with the
up
existing
with the
structure.
existing.
I got you. Now I
Existing house, yes.
Wait, it's 5 feet from that red line to the end of that deck? That's 5
5
feet?
foot 5.
Holy
5
mackerel.
foot 5
Oh, that's
inches.
an interesting scale. Okay, all right, whatever.
So in total, you're adding a porch that's 8 by 5,
Yes,
and the decking, which is 5.5 or
by
whatever.
16 feet.
By 16,
16 feet this way, 5 foot 5 this way.
okay.
And that's
And
a
everything
deck.
else you'll be conforming. It's just
That's a deck, how many feet above grade?
4 feet above grade.
And is that, it's just a deck, there's no roof over it?
No roof, just a deck. No roof. And we're also proposing to our neighbor to adding 20 arborvitaes just to create a little better screening.
Okay.
Okay. All right. But-
Tell me again, the hardship on this property,
The biggest problem we got here, 2/3 of the property,
It's
it's a
wetland.
wetlands.
but,
And
but that doesn't really impact maybe the gazebo. But where the wetlands are, doesn't impact anything else but the
No.
gazebo.
no,
It doesn't affect, as you're facing the house from Mary Ann, it doesn't affect the right side of the house.
no, there's not. And the only reason we're proposing it here, not here, because we were trying to stay away from the wetlands.
So would you consider moving that?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
Can you move that?
It'd be a little hard when we go to our next meeting, be wetlands, it'd be a little hard for the wetlands, but
But,
worst case scenario.
but
no,
after,
no.
after that, my view is, a gazebo is, whether you can build or not a gazebo, doesn't really impact the economic value of this house in a way that I don't see a reason to put the gazebo where you're proposing.
All right.
I don't see a justification for that, so you might have to deal with the wetlands if others on the board agree with me, or at least one other.
Good point.
Tell me a little bit about the deck,
And the other reason I want to continue the deck a little bit more, instead of stopping the deck
where
5 feet
where
away.
would it stop? It would stop right there.
Yeah, right here. We want to continue to be even with the existing structure, with the
Yep,
existing wall there.
I understand.
So,
I understand.
Good. Matt? Kevin? He's good. Right. You sure?
There is a little clarification. The existing roof that's in the setback, both the right side and front, would be removed and reconstructed.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
it would have to be.
The walls would stay,
we'll always stay.
but they wouldn't be severing straight down through the roof.
Right.
And there's actually an end wall that's a gable that would be switched to this hip
Right.
shape.
Yeah, this wall, the existing wall now is a gable now.
But,
We're gonna be removing
but
the
this
roof.
foundation, with the foundation window there, that's remaining.
That's
Remaining.
what they're saying. And the floor and the
In the
walls.
floor, in the wall.
Okay.
Okay, I believe they're good. Barb?
I assume the mechanicals, I don't see the mechanicals on the drawing. Are those all within?
They
Yeah.
conforming?
Our AC units, I'm gonna propose with AC units inside,
All right.
inside of the septic.
I'm good.
Okay. I've got a couple of questions. Your scales are interesting. We visited the site. That house is 2,700 square feet. That may be the largest 2,700 square feet I've ever seen, but it doesn't really matter. You're
I
doubling
think
the
they're around
size.
2,700 square feet.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Not that it matters.
24? Yeah.
Now, fine. You're a developer, you're a builder, and you own this home, correct?
I do.
So your point is to flip it?
Yes.
So, okay, I understand the business. So, but here's my question. This house is not in very good shape, and
It's not.
and the foundation, as an example, has a huge crack in it.
Yep.
Going up in the back, in the right, just a little bit off center.
Yep.
I mean, why not take it down and put everything conforming? I mean, it just seems to me that it's
Just-
I mean, I don't know the last time it was occupied, but it doesn't appear to be occupied for quite some time.
I was furnishing there before we closed.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was
Oh,
furnishing there before we
yikes.
closed.
Okay.
Inside look better than outside.
Okay.
It does.
Depending on where we go with this whole thing, I'd like you to do us a favor, and particularly me and your neighbor, since you're the owner. I'd like that yard cleaned up. It needs to be mowed. I'm not telling you to trim the bushes, all this, just make it neat for me.
I have a landscape contractor that's mowing every other week.
It's, okay, because it's a very nice road.
Yep.
And I know that the neighbors appreciate that someone taking care of
take
their
care of
home,
that.
and that home is not no offense, sir, but it's not the nicest on the street, you understand? But it looks to me like you're headed in the right direction to
So trying.
try that.
Yep.
Okay? Yeah, that's, okay, are you done?
Yes.
Any other comments, questions, concerns, board? Everybody okay? Good. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
DeSilva, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the audience that'd like to be heard on this matter?
Yes.
Please, sir, come on up. Introduce yourself, please.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Art Bellis. I live at 22 Marianne Road, which is the home to the immediate right of the subject home. I am requesting that the ZBA deny all requests that have been granted or been requested this evening by the New Ridge Building Brothers request. My understanding is that they are located in New Milford, Connecticut, which is about 60 miles north of Darien. So I do question, and they did mention that, did say they're looking to flip the home. I do question if they respect the zoning requirements within our town.
Well, that's why they're here.
That is why they're here.
Right. So we will make sure that developers respect the zoning requirements in the town.
Excellent, thank you. I did look up their license on ct.gov, and the Building Brothers expired license was in 2009. So I'm not sure why that is, but just wanted to mention that. The previous owner who lived in that home was, I think, 93 years old, and she had passed away. And the home was vacant for about 18 months, or give or take. There's estate issues and whatnot, so the home wasn't lived in by her until she passed. But the previous owner, the son, did in fact survey the property. There were flags all around the lot, and in fact, he did locate all of the wetlands on the property. So the builders knew exactly what they were getting into, because it was perfectly labeled, and all of us in the neighborhood can see exactly where the wetlands were and where the lines were. When I bought my home in about 2011, and in 2012 I came in front of the ZBA for a request to do modifications to my home, and I was not permitted to do any reconstruction to the first floor of the home, but I did have to build the second floor to conform with the setbacks.
And that was what they're proposing to do here as well.
Yes, they are. But they're also looking to do 3 additional increases to the setback problems, whereas I was not granted any of my requests at the time. So for conformity, I would appreciate if you had the same rules applied to them as they apply to me.
Sir, I understand exactly what you're saying, but I want you to know that any property, whether next door, across the street, other side of town, there's no precedent set.
Okay.
Issues with zoning run with the land. So you might have had different hardships, you might have had different situations. The board, cannot compare, well, what happened over here is what should apply over there. Circumstances are different.
That's fair.
So the board really needs to take into account the issues relating to this particular piece of property.
Understood.
That's it. We don't set precedent. With all due respect,
Yeah,
it doesn't
understand.
matter what happened with your house. With all due respect.
Understand.
We're here tonight to focus on number 20 Marianne Road. And so we need to react and vote accordingly.
Makes sense.
I hope I explained that.
Yep, it does. That's
Good.
clear.
Okay, good.
In hearing their hardship, I feel as though they're profit motivated with this flip. And I also feel
Well,
that
I would agree with you on that, sir, but it's part of the business.
it is.
That's how we make not me, but that's how people, developers make a living. This house is in clear need of some TLC.
It is.
I mean,
Yes.
I didn't drive all the way up and down the road, but I know Marianne, I know a lot of people, a number of people that live there. Yeah, it's gonna be addressed one way or the other.
Agreed.
Whether it's somebody from New Milford, which has nothing to do with anything, or somebody from Darien, Connecticut. It is what it is.
Okay. My other point was that the pool, deck, and gazebo are luxury items, in my opinion. They are not, with the wetlands with the setback issues, they all together are a luxury item, which I think diffutes some of their requests to, as a hardship. I don't view it as a hardship.
The pool issue is not before us,
The
It is
pool's
not.
conforming, sir.
It's conforming absent the wetland
but
problems.
that issue is not before us.
Agree.
Just, you know.
But I'm just painting the picture that they wouldn't be putting up a gazebo, or they would be putting up a deck if there weren't for a pool. You wouldn't have a gazebo just sitting in your side yard, I wouldn't think.
I do.
Yeah. So my point is that I have a hardship with this, in the sense that it would be visually unappealing to me, because our homes are already, each of our homes are each over the setback lines on the first floors. Expecting to have loud noise as a result of this, with having a pool, a deck, and the gazebo. And I will certainly lose privacy from this proposed work. So, and the other feature is that the home has 6 feet, I believe, on the side yard is already over the setback, and 5 feet of the entire front yard is over the setback. So you're making a bad problem even worse by having 3 new items, increasing the amount of space that are in the setbacks. And that's my concern. You know, the home is going to be a gargantuan home on a lot that is extremely narrow, and it's going to be completely out of keeping with the neighborhood.
How large is your home, sir? Square feet?
About 4,000.
They want to build 4,600. I appreciate your comment. I'll let the.
One
Yes,
of
sir.
the documents said 6,000 feet.
I want to focus this. The second story is as being built as of right.
Yes.
So
That's my
I think we
understanding.
need to, I think the issue is, yeah.
We need to
I
bring it
hear
back
you,
a little
and the
bit.
pool is as of right.
Yeah.
Assuming that it's not a wetland issue, which is not before us. So I completely understand that your comments really are limited, or should be limited, to the gazebo, the deck, and the front.
That's fair.
extension. So
That's
let's-
fair.
Right,
That's
so,
fair.
and I understand that, whereas a pool may add noise, perhaps happy noise, but noise nonetheless, right? That is not before us, because they could build a pool as of right, as far as the lot is concerned.
With respect to the deck, in one of the pictures I saw, there was a staircase that appeared to be on the right side of the deck, which appeared to be even further into the setback. Now, unless I'm mistaken, or maybe a plan has changed, you would have a deck, and then you would have an additional 4 or 5 feet further into the setback, so you can go from the deck onto the back lawn.
I don't see that on the plans. Is
I
that
think he's
bad?
talking about that.
That is outside the area. Well, maybe they can come back and address that.
I think there is a plan with the stairs to the outside.
That?
I will ask for the applicant to address that issue.
Okay.
Is whenever you're done. I'm not
I
gonna
am
go back
finished.
and forth
I am
and play,
finished, yeah.
play whatever the game
But
is.
my ultimate request is that you please deny their request.
Okay, so, Ray, thank you very
You're
much, sir.
welcome. Thank you.
We appreciate your input. All right,
Can I ask the applicant to come up?
thank you. Thank you.
Let's address these things one at a time. On the front yard, the covered porch, that is going to address, and maybe do it on the elevation picture, not the, okay, so you, just describe to me the
So,
purpose of the, where the buildable, are you coming forward further into the setback on the front of the house?
I don't know who drew it up, but no.
No.
And the red line that's there, it's existing. The only thing we're adding, the little blue line in. Blue
Okay,
piece.
so the red line, it's existing.
Existing.
It's already in the setback.
It's already in the setback.
You're not increasing it. The
We're
only
not.
thing you're doing is pulling over,
This piece, from
Yep.
here to here,
yep.
just to look like the right side, just to be symmetric. Look
And-
better.
Are you pulling out where you're moving the front door a little bit to the right?
To the right, yes.
Is it coming out any further towards Marianne?
No, stay where it is.
It's just moving to the
It's
right?
just moving to the right.
But if you move it to the right, according to this picture, it looks like it's still underneath an existing cover.
It's not. That's the existing wall there. So the wall comes in, goes back.
Right. Oh, so you're moving it, the front door is gonna be closer to the road than it is right now. Because right now, the front door is set back a little bit.
I know.
I think you said like this.
No, we're not.
Door is set back.
Front door stay all the way back, like 14 feet away from the front.
But
The front door stays.
but
so
isn't
that's-
that area covered now?
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah, it looks like
Oh,
it.
maybe it is kind of covered.
Oh, it's an old porch that we're
Yeah.
going to remove, yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's my question. Are you putting new coverage there or not?
So what he's,
So this, I think, so the existing porch right now is going from the point of the garage right here.
And
That's existing.
is that covered?
It is covered.
yes.
What we're proposing is continue this way. That we can put a hip roof and look like the other side.
But if you didn't do that, would the front door still be covered?
If you don't, the front door will still be covered.
You'd still have,
Yes.
so it is not a safety issue like other porticos that we've heard of. It is aesthetic.
It's aesthetic.
Okay.
The whole idea I'm trying to extend it is just the front of the house looks symmetric, that's all.
Yep, I understand.
But so to answer your question, Gary, under their plan, it would be additional.
It would be
in
additional
the setback.
coming out.
Yeah, because it's coming out
Right.
and extending along where the rest of the house is, where the other part steps out.
Yeah.
And then, with regards to the
Yeah, because they're
staircase
running
on the
like
back
this along,
deck,
'cause it's a rough one.
It's not there.
it's on that side, right? Okay.
It's,
But it does show on the plans as though it's on the right
I
side.
think at one point, I'm sorry to revise it, but I think one point, we put these stairs there, we realized we're too close to the proper line, we moved to this side.
So it's conforming,
It's
stairs,
conforming, yes.
okay,
There's
fine,
one on this,
fine.
access to the pool. Okay. Okay.
What,
So
that's two issues,
two
what was the
questions. The
third?
third question is the gazebo, but I have a understanding of the gazebo.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good, Good.
My questions are
Good.
answered.
Good.
good.
I had
But
one
what,
more-
and you're welcome to come up, sir, please.
Thank you. Quickly, there was a document that mentioned that the house was 6,000 square feet,
Okay?
and I'm hearing it's 4,600 square feet, so I don't know which.
It's
of the
roughly
two-
5,400 square feet.
No, it's 5,400 square feet.
Okay?
I just want to know how many square footage is going to be.
But
I've heard three different
I
numbers.
understand your question. As far as I'm concerned, it's not relevant because they're not looking
Yeah.
to build more livable space in the setback.
It's as a matter of right.
There, additional livable space, as the chairman said, is as of right.
Okay,
Anything else, sir?
that's all. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the audience that'd like to be heard on this matter? Okay, this hearing is closed. All right? Yeah, okay? All right, now, applicant number 16 is gonna wait because I'm gonna revisit Mr. DeMayo. I'd like him to come up, please, and tell us if anything been resolved or there are issues, and maybe I should ask you to come up as well. It doesn't matter to me. Why don't you go first, ma'am, the neighbor go first, and tell us if you have any issues or you're good to go. Yes, please come up and introduce yourself again.
Could you spell your name for us?
Spell your last name, please.
Glekas, Glekas. First name Nicoleta, Nikoletta.
Okay, thank you.
And my property was in 26 Cherry Street. So when the architect saw us the plan, and thank you for that, we have a little bit better idea what he was planning to do. The only concern we have is regarding the water and the flooding we have like 3 times in the last 5 years. So what I requested with my husband is we not disagree with the plan or moving forward with the project. We just wanted to have an engineer to let us know if it's any plan regarding the water. It coming pool up to the half of the shade in my backyard. And when the building, they lift the house and they put some kind of retainer wall or something, we wanted to know if it's any drainage or what is the engineer, he can come with what's plan and direction, like to avoid to getting more water in our property. And it's exactly in a line.
All right, do we have a drainage study here?
Yeah, I think there's a preliminary one, but the Planning and Zoning Commission will look at this project separately for just what you're talking about. Any grading or drainage, flood damage prevention features, like the flood venting that they have to do.
Correct, yeah, I'm sorry,
So there will be a follow-up.
No worries, man.
It's-
No worries at all.
I just, I try to give you idea, but that's the only concern we have. We
Okay.
would love to see beautiful property next to us, and that's what the direction we go, because as I say, the last 3 years, we have to go up to like all the cabinets, all the floors and everything else. We want to be sure we're not gonna be the return, then the water, it's not gonna have a way to go somewhere, and it's gonna come elevated more in our property.
Has your house been raised?
I'm sorry?
But raised, is lifted up?
No,
Is it above the floodplain?
My property?
Yes.
No.
No, it has not.
No.
Okay.
No,
I
it's
understand. All right, fine. Mr. Woodside's point is correct. That's a matter that P and Z is going to review. And I appreciate very much your concern, and I completely understand it. I've had it happen to me. I've lived in town all my life, so I understand where you're coming from. And I would just point you in the direction of planning and zoning,
Okay.
where they're going to have to go for site plan review and other matters, including but not limited to
Okay.
drainage.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Just to prevent and, to not make it even worse.
The board completely understands where you're coming from.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank you.
so
Thank
much. Really appreciate it. Is there anyone else in the audience who'd like to be heard on this matter? Okay. The DeMayo calendar, which I think is 14, I apologize if I had a number, is 10? Okay, I apologize. Calendar 10 is now closed. Great. That was 10. We did 16. We're on 16 now? Thank you. Okay, calendar number 16-2023, the application of Matthew Napolitano and Bavona Developments to allow the construction of a one-story covered porch for the property known as, I believe it's 2 Turnabout, right? Yeah, 2 Turnabout. It's on a separate page. Got it.
Good evening.
Mr. Napolitano, how are you, sir?
I am Mr. Bavona.
Oh, Mr. Bavona, excuse me.
Mr. Napolitano is in Japan right now, so.
Okay. Is he the homeowner?
He dropped this, no, he is one of our partners.
Oh, he's one of your partners, okay.
And Cypress Enterprises
Okay.
is the company. This is actually being built on Home Developments, which is a development company. So, Joel, you just got the paper, I'm sorry. So my name is Gary Bavona. I am a home builder. I've been in the home building, spec home building and construction industry for over 30 years. We are building a spec home on Turnabout Lane. I don't know if any of you have taken a ride by there to take a look at it. There was an old dilapidated house that was there that was really should have been condemned. It was non-conforming. I think that road at one time might have been shared by families, if I understand the history of it. So there was a bunch of stuff that kind of went on that maybe prior to certain zoning regulations. But we, as you well know, between the cost of properties and building costs and so forth, when we buy these properties, we have to maximize coverage, which, puts us.
So you're a developer, just to clarify, you're a developer as well, right?
Yes,
And you
exactly.
own this property?
We own the property, correct?
Okay, so you're the
Yeah.
second application
So
this
it's-
evening, so I want to make that point.
Yeah, it's a spec home that we're building here. And we work very closely with zoning. They've been fantastic through the whole thing. In fact, at nausea, I think we were on the phone with the folks down there, Hervé and our architect and our surveyor, to make sure that we were conforming with all the setbacks and that we were, that we were not encroaching anything with building heights and coverage and things of that nature. What we're here for is more, I think, forgiveness and mercy instead of permission, without realizing what happened here. As you can see, on the front page there was our original proposed elevation at the front of the house. And it showed just a 3-0 front door with a, I don't know, maybe 5 foot, might have been a 5 foot wide by 3 foot overhang. And as you guys well know, these little 3 foot landings really lend themselves to kind of being tight, with one person can enter at a time, and it gets a little hairy with kids and families walking up and coming up. So, as is often the case, when we're constructing, we put in our plans, the meat and potatoes that are covered, and then we make some field adjustments as we go. And so, what we did was we changed the door, the 3-0 door, to a 6-0 door, which you can see the door on the second page there. And that door will be painted black, and if you go to the last page, you'll see where we changed from the proposed carriage garage doors. That's an inverted picture, but to the kind of frosted glass picture that's consistent with the front door there.
That's the garage door?
That's the garage door. And that front door matches, kind of matches the garage, both frosted glass, that kind of thing. And again, without even realizing that there was a 5 foot limitation there, we just went ahead and widened it. We did not come any further. And the front of the building actually is 1.5 feet shy of our front setback. So we didn't come any further into the setback, but we went wider than 5 feet because I didn't know. I'm sure that someone knew, our architect or somebody knew that there was a 5 foot restriction on the overhang, the front portico. So it wasn't until I was in the zoning office speaking to Hervé about proposed changes to the driveway that I was showing him the front door and the changes we made, and he showed me the actual regulation that stated that we could only have 3 by 5. So we'd already had the door installed, we'd already had the roof on.
So what is this landing now?
So this landing,
As you built it,
yeah, the landing right now is 3 foot by 8 foot, and the actual overhang is 3 foot by 8 foot, 1 1/4 trim to trim.
and when you take into account the setback, are you only 2 feet into the setback? Or
The front setback?
Yes.
The front setback, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Woody, can you correct me if I'm wrong? There's the 3 foot, so if the building.
And I'm asking your building is
My
only,
building is 1.5 feet back of the setback.
right, so
Right?
don't talk about what's permitted, but I'm asking you, how much is the stoop into the setback?
Yes, 1.5 foot, 1.5 foot.
So we're talking about 1.5 feet by 8 feet.
8 feet wide, 8 foot.
12
width.
meters.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So basically,
But the overhang's at
Another inch,
yeah,
another inch or
quarter
so.
inch.
I think it's 1.25 inches by the time they got the trim on there. The other thing we did, as you can see, the original plan just kind of showed these little shed roofs over the garage and over the front door, which were not consistent with the returns. We did standing seam with hip roofs over both the front door and the garage, which kind of widened that, standing seam kind of widened that a little bit, which, took to the 8 foot, 1 1/4, but it was
This
just
is,
something we missed.
you're talking about the garage, the only part that violates the setback rules
Portico.
is the portico by 1.5 feet by 8 foot, 1 1/4 inch. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And are you showing us the garage door just for context? So we can see-
Just so that you could see, what our thinking was when we
And what
changed
the
the
finish
front
will be.
door. Yeah, and then also, again, our thinking was, because it's a western exposure, you know, if we kind of put those glass doors in, it opened up more natural lighting into the front of the house. So that was just kind of our thinking. We just didn't realize that we had a restriction on how large we can go with our portico.
And sir, is there a storage shed or something on the property that is not within? Is there some construction on the property that's going to be torn down that's like temporary or something?
There was an old detached garage that was just sitting on that property.
Okay, and that's gone
That's
now?
all been removed, yeah. that's-
Okay, I'm looking at staff.
Yeah.
Oh, understood.
Okay, that was a good decision. Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Quite frankly, sir, I was there, met your tile guy, nice guy. Not really. Quite frankly, I saw that portico, and personally, I didn't think it was big enough. So I don't really have any questions, comments, or concerns, but I respect the board's position. So Gary,
All my questions have been answered.
Matt,
I'm all set.
Kevin, Barb.
All set.
I'm stand firm. Okay, then if you don't have anything further, I'm good. You good?
I'm good.
Good. Anybody from the audience like to hear, excuse me, anybody from the audience would like to be heard on this matter? Perfect. This hearing is closed.
Thanks so much. Appreciate that.
Okay? Okay, that wraps up our hearings this evening, ladies and gentlemen. So the board now will deliberate. Pardon me. We'll now deliberate. Now, going forward, no further public comment and/or owner-developer comment is allowed. But you're welcome to stay while we deliberate and you can hear our decisions. If not, you're welcome to call staff in the morning and find out what we decided. Good? Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna move over to, we're gonna go back to my agenda and we're gonna go to Cherry Street?
24 Cherry Street.
24 Cherry Street, calendar number 10. Riley, 24 Cherry Street. Okay. I always go left to right, Gary.
No, I think the work proposed is good. I don't really have any problems. I think the hardship to me is pretty clear that most of the a pre-existing building is within the setback. And he is dramatically reducing 4 percentage points or so the current overage of coverage. If I understand it, his proposal is going to maintain a slight amount of coverage above what was previously granted, but some of that is due to moving utilities out of the garage floodplain into another area in the house, which makes perfect sense to me. And again, not only you have the double hardship here, I think, of small buildable area, existing house outside of the buildable area, and a desire to raise this house out of the flood zone, which is an important safety thing. So between that and the slight addition kind of in an anterior U, and then the area to the right of the house, to me, it seems like it's a reasonable proposal.
Okay, fine. Matt?
I agree with everything. Seems very reasonable, reducing non-conformity, getting rid of the shed, going from 29 to 25%. That all is positive. And yeah, clear hardship with the lot size and the actual buildable area is not reasonable to try to put a house there. So that's no problems with this proposal.
Okay. Kevin?
Sure, I would just add, on top of everything that my colleague said, that in addition, the current house is violative of a previous variance, and this action would take it out of violation, if that's the right way to say it, or previous, and make it conforming with that, which is helpful. And the only thing to add to what was said was, I think a home of 1,725 feet which represents an addition of about less than 200 additional feet in exchange for the conformance we've discussed, and raising the flood, it out of the flood area is the minimal adjustment necessary in my estimation. So I'm supportive of the proposal as is.
Barb?
I'm good. What did we decide about the shed? Are they taking that thing
Yeah,
down?
The shed's going bye-bye.
Okay, good. And then the fence is gonna come into compliance. I'm good. I think it's becoming.
They said they're taking the fence
Yeah.
down, isn't that what they
So
said?
more conforming, they're raising the property, and I gotta say, when you go and look at the neighborhood, like everything except the neighbor to the right, they've all done this, they've all raised it, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
But
So I
what do
think
you-
it's good.
What do you, assuming we all vote yes, which seems like
Uh-huh.
we're going, there's some stipulation or work that the town does to ensure that the neighbors are not negatively impacted by increased water flow. Is that correct? I mean, this isn't where they need to build Coltex because they're expanding things, right?
In this case, they don't have to do drainage
Right.
infiltrators. But the P and Z Commission will look at the detailed site plan and see if there's any fill or regrading.
That would
And
send
be an
water in the
issue.
wrong direction.
That would push water in some other
We gotta
direction.
figure out how to
Okay.
get this.
I know.
this.
I
Okay.
know.
Well, I have
They also, though, will look at the drainage plan in general, right? And ensure
As-
that the water's coming off the roof and staying on the site of the property and not being kicked out to the street.
as much as possible, but they don't have to do the typical replacement house drainage where all the downspouts are hooked up and all kinds of.
Okay.
So in this case, it would be good if they did improve it, but they don't have to.
Okay.
But while I have you, I think it would be good to note the fence to be remedied, I guess, is a stipulation.
Didn't he say he was taking it out?
Said they'd take it down, but
Should just include
want to
that.
verify it is.
All right, fine, that's fine.
No, that's a stipulation. I
And
think
then,
he-
Okay.
and then for the front porch, that we have the standard, not enclose it or expand it in the future.
That's fine. Both of those are fine. You know what to do. It's standard language,
Got it.
okay?
And they all-
All right, so 24 Cherry Street, I have no comment. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
A second.
Sorry.
No,
Okay, so.
I'm just an alternate.
Gary motioned, Kevin second, all in favor? All right, done. Calendar number 14, 140 Homes. Okay. Gary?
Why does Gary get to start?
Because she starts to the right, but I think you should start to the left.
He talks
or
too
whatever.
long, and then like we
Okay,
always
so
have to go,
you
yeah, I
go.
agree with Gary.
You're right, Barb, you go.
All right.
Like I said, I'm just an alternate.
Okay, that was
All right, I have
clearly
no comment.
taken out of my
Get it,
hands.
okay.
I don't know what happened there, but okay, fine.
I love this project. I think
Barb,
this is fantastic. I'm
ladies
all for
first,
this. Fine,
all
I'm
for
good.
this,
I'm good.
good.
I'm good with
Okay.
this.
Well, I mean, I'm not quite as positive as Barb. No,
You didn't
because-
get to go first.
Yeah,
that's
next
right,
time have
I'm
Kevin.
outraged. Because, I mean, it's, and we're gonna have this question on a later application, right? This is a request for a non-conforming portico, basically, that is bigger than we typically allow. And I didn't hear substantial evidence as to what the hardship was that would require, in this instance, us to go beyond what we normally do. So I'm just not sure what our overall policy is in relation to, covered
Yep.
porches and
Okay.
expanded porticos beyond the 8.5 that we have said is our standard. So, I mean, I'm not
And
sure.
what's the total size of this portico?
This one is 9x8.
Oh, okay.
Right now, it's 8x5.
Yes,
It's
so
one
they're
lane.
expanding to 9x8, okay.
Even though it's in the setback.
Yes.
It is conforming because it's 8x5 under our policy, or would be, and they want to go to 9x8. So I'm not
So
sure
Matt-
what our policy is and how much, what kind of a showing we need.
So just to be clear, so you want this planter to extend into here?
I'm not advocating for anything in particular, I'm just saying, I don't know what our policy is.
Okay,
in
fine.
Our
relation to-
policy is 5 by 8.
Yeah, it's our
And-
policy.
And
And then
what
you have
our,
policy creep.
yeah, right, and what our metrics are to allow an expansion beyond that.
I can't address that. I honestly don't know what our metrics are to address that, but.
Well, I mean, I know what state law requires, but.
Well, this is an interesting situation because this is not in part of the actual doorway. I mean, it's extending beyond that. So it's a little bit different, but
There's a hardship with the corner lot.
the hardship can be substantiated.
Okay, so you guys should articulate it and then we can.
Okay,
vote.
sorry, I should have said something about that.
No. Okay, Barb,
Okay, all right, I
come on
believe-
back.
The reason I like this is because I do think the hardship has water,
Has water.
holds water. I
Me-
think
Oh.
The hardship is good, it's fair. And I think it's an improvement to the house, and they're only extending it 3 feet, actually 2 feet into the setback. And I think aesthetically, not, I know we don't say aesthetically, but I think it works. So I would put it on the hardship. I would say that the hardship in this case gives them the justification.
Okay.
And is the hardship the corner lot and the
Yes.
buildable area is small for the record?
Yes.
Yes.
That is what she's saying. Gary? I'm sorry, I didn't,
I don't know what to say, I guess. I'm fine with this proposal. It seems reasonable. 9 by 8 versus 8 by 5, so it's a couple feet larger. Yeah, maybe we have policy creep on this one a bit, but it seems reasonable, and I'm going to trust that they are making it the appropriate size for the lot and the house as well.
and they could have extended it into the planter, you know.
And the planters, key point here.
So
Okay.
what you're saying is it's the minimum adjustment?
I do
Okay.
think he presented that case.
Okay.
A little by accident, but I'll let him go with it. Okay,
I'm concerned with the creep, and it's the way it's been for a long time. It's 5 by 8 right now, or bigger than that. And my problem is that the applicant said it's purely for aesthetics.
Yeah. I
okay,
didn't love that either, I
And-
can tell you.
fair enough.
And, sometimes we guide applicants to talk about what hardships might be, but when an applicant says purely for aesthetics,
Uh-huh,
there's not even a use case, which we allow,
Mhm.
like it's an important use of the property. In
Yeah,
order
yeah.
to get an access to a basement, we
Yeah.
may allow certain things.
understood.
That's what I'm troubled by. Again, precedent aside, Jeff, and you're right, but I don't think, I'm not comfortable voting for it for 2 reasons. One is, we've been pretty steadfast about 5 by 8.
Well, that's
And
true.
2, if there were a reason for bigger than 5 by 8, it had to be, in my mind, it has to be more than purely aesthetics.
Yeah, I understand completely. I know.
So that's where I am.
I have a feeling there are a couple other board members that are in the same,
I don't know.
same
I
position.
don't know.
All right, but I heard Matt. Are you okay?
By okay, I mean, I think Gary and I are the same.
Yeah. And do you have, so no further comment or
No,
question?
correct.
Okay, that's what I meant. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say, are you okay? I'm sorry.
Yep, nope, I've made my comment.
Okay, so listen, Mr. Green is correct. This extension into the setback, it was clearly defined as aesthetic. Yes, they accidentally ran into the minimum adjustment necessary as far as I'm concerned, but they didn't take it even further. They put in a planter there. They could have, okay, fine, they didn't. However, the point is well taken relative to the necessity for this extension. Personally, the chair does not see it. I think it's a great project. I don't think it's gonna make any difference that aesthetically, this is not there. So, I'm gonna ask for a motion to deny. Why don't we start there, and I'll look for a second. So, do I have a
I
motion?
guess I'll move to deny, given what I've said.
Okay, no, I'm okay with that. Do I have a second on the denial?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor of denying the application at 140 Homes? Aye. 4 against 1 or 3 against 2?
3-2.
3-2.
The application doesn't pass. However,
Yeah.
if the motion to deny passes, but the application doesn't pass.
So 140 Homes, calendar number 14 has been denied. Is that what we're saying? 3-2.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
and understand, Woody, when and if they contact you, that, you know, if this was a safety issue, if it was, I mean, I could come up with a handful of reasons that we might consider this. But aesthetically, it poses a little bit of a conflict for the board, in my opinion.
Presumably if they come back with a 5x8 portico.
Yes,
Yeah, let them know that.
I agree. Which I think is what
They
have.
may do better extending into the setback with a 5.8 at
Right.
5.5 by 8 as opposed to what's being proposed. I believe that's what the board may be saying.
Yeah, pinch it in a few feet, yeah.
Right, right.
We're only here to suggest, okay?
Okay.
So, calendar 14 is denied. I'm gonna move now to calendar 15, 20 Marianne Road. Barb? I'm not too sure I heard an answer to why not take this thing down, but okay, go
Well,
ahead.
that is the one comment that I think, like, we have done this with a lot of builders historically, where we have said, if a
Just-
house isn't worth keeping, take it down and move
Yeah,
the
I know.
entire thing. There's,
No, only if it only if it can't withstand it. It's only if the walls, if this can truly hold what they're planning on doing, then it can hold what they're doing.
Well,
We don't tell people to take it down.
we don't.
Well-
Not
We
in my-
make properties more conforming.
Not in my
So if-
18 years, I've never told people you must take your house down.
No, we've never, no.
No.
No, we only get into
The
that when they,
second-
yep.
The second, okay, here's what works, you're right. The second story is all in the buildable area.
Correct.
The thing that is clearly a denial for me is the gazebo. There's plenty of space, they gotta move the gazebo into the buildable area, everything else I am fine with. I mean, they have to comply with everything else that P and Z would ask of them. You know, it has to be a safe construction site, they have to have permits. they
So
have
are
to be
you
licensed.
okay with the extension of the porch?
I am okay with the extension of
Why?
the porch. Because I think it makes sense, it's in keeping with the line of the house.
Does denying it deny a usable porch?
It requires a redesign, no. It requires a redesign. I don't know how you pull back, Jeff and I walked along this property, I don't know how you would pull it back without it looking really goofy. I know aesthetic is not a hardship,
my
so what is
problem.
so what are you gonna say?
I don't know, again, you have no right to a porch. I mean, again, this is state law in Connecticut.
Well, it's a cover for
You
the
have
front
no-
door.
We're talking about two different things.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about the porch in the back.
Correct.
The deck?
The deck.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they're gonna have a deck anyway. The question is,
Yeah.
should it
I'm
extend
sorry,
all
the
the way,
deck, right.
should it extend all the way to the line of the house and into the setback?
I don't have an issue with that. I understand what you're saying, we're supposed to have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with that. The front door, I think, has
Is
to
it?
be,
It is.
He's talking about the back of the
Exactly,
house.
okay.
It
just the
is
back.
closer to the neighbor.
it is.
I don't.
It's activity.
Yeah, I mean,
closer to-
conceptually, I don't think it makes a big difference, but I did not hear any articulation whatsoever as to what the hardship is that would require us, even if we think it makes sense aesthetically or otherwise, that would articulate a reason to extend it into the setback.
Purely aesthetic.
Well,
And
that
denying
state
it
law
isn't-
does not allow
You
that.
deny a little bit of function, but you still have the function of a deck. Look, it might make sense, again, aesthetically.
Yes.
Yeah, here we are again on
I
aesthetics.
know, and I know we're not supposed to have everyone.
No, we're not. We're here to follow the rule of law.
Well, we can
So
look
my
at-
view is there are three things. I think we can all agree on the gazebo.
Yep,
I think we can all agree that the front porch is fine because it provides the level of protection that, you know, we want people to have coming into the front porch. It's not coming any closer.
Okay,
And it doesn't impact the neighbor anymore, right? It's the front porch. It doesn't impact the neighbor.
no,
anymore.
no.
But I do think the only problem I have, and I mischaracterized it as the porch before, I meant the deck on that side of the property.
I understood.
Okay.
Yep.
So if I were philosopher king, I'd deny the
Mm-hmm,
gazebo,
mm-hmm.
deny the deck, and approve the front porch.
I'm okay with that.
And by the way, say that, you know, thank you, whoever encouraged this builder to pull back the second floor,
Mm-hmm.
putting the steel beams in, so that so there's no more real livable volume inside in the setback.
I agree. I'll give credit to Harvey for that. And Woody. Okay, comment?
No, I'm in agreement.
Are you okay with the
Yeah,
denying
I
of the
think-
gazebo and the
That also.
deck, but the porch is okay?
That sounds reasonable to me.
Okay.
I don't think it wouldn't destroy the value of this project or be an undue requirement to move that deck back. There's nothing.
And it addresses the neighbor's concern,
Yeah.
because that's where the neighbor lives.
Yes,
Is on that side- on
okay,
that side of this.
that's a good point, agreed, yep, yep.
And we do take that into consideration.
To some extent, we do, yes, we do.
The only thing I would add in terms of I was going to suggest the same thing as Gary. The only thing I would add in terms of the porch and distinguishing it from the previous application where we insisted on it being 8 by 5 and here it would be 8 by 8, is the reason here for the extension from 5 feet to 8 feet is so that it matches the edge of the house that's already there. So I think you might have a safety issue where you had, because you then have almost an eave or something coming down in front of where someone would be coming off that.
To avoid
You're
an
not
ice
encroaching any
dam.
further.
It's an
Right,
ice
yeah.
dam.
Right, yeah. So I just want to draw that distinction and say, that's why here I'm comfortable with the porch being 8 by 8 as opposed to 8 by 5.
I love that.
Okay,
That's good.
thank you. Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns? Anybody? You good? Okay. All right, so Woody, here's what we're gonna vote on, just as Gary pointed out, okay? We're going to approve the front porch. We're going to deny the gazebo
In its current location.
in its current location, yeah, and put it in the buildable area, I got nothing to say about it. Deny the gazebo, and we're going to deny the deck that's going into the setback, okay?
Stipulation about the porch not to enclose.
Sure, same, yeah, I have no problem. I have no problem.
And I would
Yes,
also
sir.
say a landscaping plan would go a long way as well
Well,
to,
he said he was putting plants in on the right-hand
but
side.
we don't know what those are, so I would say.
He said 20 arborvitaes was what he said.
Oh, I didn't even hear that.
I
That
did.
was impressive.
That's
Okay.
why I'm chair.
20 arborvitae's on the neighbor's side, thank
Kidding,
you.
yeah. I'm kidding, but yes,
Okay.
that's what I heard.
Okay. I think that's good. I think that
Okay.
addresses the
You're
neighbors.
throwing me off with that picture.
Sorry, I
That's
know,
the next,
I'll
that's the
tee you up
next.
for the
And I
next one.
assume, I didn't see it closely, I assume all of the pool equipment is conforming,
I'd have to
and the
conform.
other utilities
Yeah.
are all conforming.
We'll get hit with that.
Well,
E and Z.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, Harvey can pick up on that because I didn't hear, I don't.
I think there's plenty of space to reconfigure that
Yeah,
backyard like
there
that.
should be,
Yeah.
okay. All right, so
Motion.
as I stated, deny gazebo, deny the deck into the setback in the rear, and approve the porch. May I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I will.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
That's 5-zip, okay? Woody, any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, good, perfect, all right, good. And I'm sure he's gonna make it nice, and I'm also sure that Mr. DeSilva will keep that property looking neat while it's under construction. Do me a favor, don't cause any issues on that street for me, okay?
I will not.
Thank you. Okay, now we're moving on to,
16/20/23.
Thank you. 16/2023 property 2 Turnabout. The guy looking for forgiveness and now permission. I stated my case. I was there, I saw it, I thought it was too
But
small.
his dimensions are fine, his dimensions are 8 by 5 with,
For the landing, yeah.
for the
the
landing,
landing.
and another 1.5 on the overhang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I'm fine with
I
that.
am too.
So let's, for safety purposes, I make a motion that we approve this, putting aside whether there's a hardship or not, for the purpose of the safety of the residents and guests. I move that we approve it as proposed.
do I have a second?
Yep.
All in favor? Done.
It's a minimum adjustment.
Okay, I'm gonna quickly go through other business.
Because it's not really 8 by 5 anyway, because of.
Yeah, right, yeah, it's 1.5.
Yeah.
But still, it's still 8 and.
All right, I'm not gonna address
If the creep is.
number 1 we'll get to soon. Number 2, I'm not gonna address tonight. Okay, October 26, 2022?
Yeah,
That was a year ago.
right.
Well, okay, fine. Approval of minutes for October 26, 2022. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We could make a motion and all that.
I motioned to approve. Didn't I?
I second.
Yeah.
All in favor, you got 5?
Yeah, I'm sorry if I misspoke.
Okay.
Okay. Approval of minutes for the meeting of April 19th, 2023. I move to approve. All in favor?
Second.
That's 5. Approval of minutes for the meeting May 24th, 2023. I move to approve.
I second.
All in favor? That's 5.
Well, he wasn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's 4.
4.
Approval of minutes of meeting on June 21st, 2023. I move to approve.
I second.
Done. All in favor? Done.
Aye.
Approval of minutes in meeting July 12th, 2023. I move to approve. Do I have a second? Good. All in favor? Done.
Aye.
Okay.
That was 3 on that one.
But that was 3
we got
because we
3.
don't have Matt or Jana.
Understood.
Done. Okay.
Yep,
oh,
but
sorry,
Matt's
Matt.
here,
Not-
you
I'm sorry,
second,
Jana,
so that's
Jana.
3.
3.
3. Okay, so we're good there. All right, good.
Thank you.
You good?
All right,
There's
and
no report on Giovanni's that I know of.
Nothing new, supposedly it's being worked on, but.
all right.
you,
Channel
Mr. Chairman.
Channel 79, we're done. Thank you very much.